Welcome back to Monetizing Mompreneurs, the show where we turn your passion into profit using rinse and repeat marketing strategies that actually work. I'm your host, Linda Mendable, and today's episode is for the overwhelmed, the burnt out, and the I feel like I'm doing too much mompreneur. We're talking about the power of simplicity and how doing less with intention can actually help you grow more.
Mompreneurs, it's not business, baby. It's business and babies. Whether you're rocking the carpool line, building your business during nap time, or dreaming big after bedtime, we've got the tools, tips, and strategies to help you grow your business. Grab a snack, your headphones, and enjoy this time with us, because mom life and boss life deserve balance.
Before I get into today's episode, I just want to say that I always like to peel back the curtain and give like a little bit of a sneak peek of what I'm going through, the challenges that I'm facing, as well as the strategies that I'm implementing. So if you haven't noticed, like the last 3 episodes, I've implemented kind of like a new strategy. And this is one of them too, this episode as well. So what I've done is I've invested in myself in taking a group coaching program aimed for making better podcasts because I know that I'm called to do the podcast. And so it was a no-brainer for me to go ahead and make an investment towards where I want to be better at, right? Because I noticed that I am maybe I have some talent. I'm just saying, maybe, but I can't only depend on flying by the seat of my pants, right? You gotta sometimes implement some strategy. There's some things that you like doing within your business that comes natural, maybe selling, maybe marketing. And so it's always good to double down and implement other strategies that go into what you're already good at as well and just polish things up. That's one of the things that I'm learning as well is like, wow, taking strategies like maybe other people's strategies that you're learning from other coaches, right? That you're learning from, and also making them yours, right? Not necessarily copying, every single thing, but making it yours. So if you're learning on these podcasts, always remember to ask yourself, how can I make this mine? How can I tweak this that goes within my personality and the way that I teach and what I genuinely know that I'm good at, right? Sometimes we do need that outside perspective. And it's one of the reasons why I invested in a group coaching program, like what they say, make sure that your coach has a coach. I understand that concept because you got to invest in yourself. And sometimes there's certain holes that you're not seeing. And sometimes you need that outside perspective. I know I do. And it has been an incredible blessing. Around this time, possibly last year, I believe it was either this time or a little bit further in the summer, I talked about how I was transitioning from a one-to-one biz model to the one-to-many biz model, right? Yes. So I am currently in that process. The podcast is one of that strategy. And I'm also incorporating Chat GPT because I don't know, I just keep things, it's almost like my VA. I'm using ChatGPT somewhat as my VA in order to keep me on track with what I know strategically works. So I've developed a strategy, the work that I did within the podcast and the SEO and all that. I implemented and I put it into ChatGPT and I laid out a journey strategy plan to really focus on the areas that I can speak on what I can talk about, and based on my experiences, right? So, yes, this episode, we're talking about simplicity. And let me tell you, using AI can bring in that simplicity instead of you always having to sit down and think about like, oh my goodness, what am I going to talk about today? So I did pray about it. I was like, Lord, guide me. Let it be you speaking through me and not I. Let it be you working through me and not I. That is my prayer before I go into a meeting, before I speak on a platform, because it just allows me the freedom that whatever I am speaking on, that I know that I'm not alone in speaking on this, right? And I can be confident in that. Confidence is also key, right? In running a business and showing up, we need that confidence sometimes. So by doing that simple prayer, it allows me to have confidence. Now, before I get into today's topic, I want to talk to you about what I have seen when it comes to seeing success and staying stuck. And, when I first caught this, I was like, wow, one of the questions that I asked, and I always like to ask the Lord questions. I always like to pray about things and ask questions, whatever I'm facing. And the way that I like to ask the questions, just ask the questions and allow God to answer it in his time and just release it. Just ask the questions. I don't need the answer immediately. Sometimes it does come immediately. So one of the questions that I kind of like asked within my heart was, what makes someone successful? Like some people make it and others not? That was a genuine question because I'm like, dang, what category am I going to be in when I was first starting my business? What category am I going to be in? Am I, sometimes you're doing all this work, right? And you're going for it and you're showing up and life and all of the things. And you wonder like, you know, will you achieve your goals? Like there's a point that you get to, you're like, man, am I going to achieve this seemingly impossible goal or this goal that looks so out of reach? Am I going to be able to achieve that? And so I genuinely had that question, like, what makes it the difference between someone who makes it and reaches and accomplishes their goals versus someone that just gives up? And I've seen it. I have, one of the things that we put together once a year currently, I'm putting together once a year, is our Monetizing Mompreneurs summits. And sometimes I go back and I look at the applicants and I see a good, for what we're going to be doing next or the next phase or the next summit that we want to focus on. I go in and I look at the past applicants, and some of them have completely shut down their businesses. Their businesses are no longer, they no longer have a website. They're no longer in business. And there's some others that are still in business, killing it, killing the game, right? And I genuinely wondered that question. And so in coaching others and speaking with others, in, and working with clients and being behind the scenes of a lot of coaches, because a lot of the web design work that I do are coaches, and just amazing entrepreneurs, amazing women that just go for it, right? To have successful businesses. And a lot of the times I have the opportunity to get to see the behind the scenes. And in that, and also in having students, and when Bundles and Summits Accelerator Program, Monetizing Mompreneur Society, was in beta, seeing students, talking with students, seeing the strongholds, right? Mental strongholds, absolutely, I do see them. And seeing what holds someone back versus what pushes someone forward. And there is, and I say this often, entrepreneurship is a journey of self-discovery. You're going to find a lot of things. And if you are not willing to change, to change perspective, a lot of forgiveness, you got to get rid of judgment, right? I mean, judging other people's strategies. You got to get rid of it. I mean, you can have what is it called? An unbiased opinion or, things like that. And, not have that like judgment. Like if you're judging on, oh my goodness, I hate Facebook and I hate showing up on Facebook and I hate marketing and I hate XYZ, that's judgment right there. In the Bible, it says, judge not lest you be judged. A lot of people cannot do marketing because they have judged other people's marketing strategies and they have pegged them or judged them or something. They did something within that realm. And listen, I'm also talking about personal experiences as well. They had a judgment towards a certain marketing strategy, and they are not able mentally. There is a resistance. They are not able to implement a marketing strategy or any marketing strategy because I guess in their minds, they didn't like something within a marketing experience. Okay. So I want you to consider, what judgments do you have when it comes to sales? What judgment do you have when it comes to marketing? Because it could be as simple as, oh my gosh, she's always selling in her emails. Boom. That right there, if you ever had that judgment against an entrepreneur, and then when it comes to your own business and you're trying to sell in your emails, you're going to self-sabotage because you already have a judgment that doesn't align with your values. Okay. So you're going to have to go in within yourself and forgive yourself and release those judgments in order to move forward. So understand that the people that are killing the game, they have done a lot of the mental work in undoing a lot of the strongholds that that may have held them back. That's why there's a difference between sometimes it takes some people 1, 2 years and others 10 years, right? And so your journey is your journey. It can take as long as how you make it, and it's all unique. And so you gotta look into within yourself. Another thing that I've noticed is loyalties. Some people, for an example, some people would prefer to be loyal to a person that will ultimately hold them back. For instance, I was working with someone that invested in a website, right? And we were working on just updating their website that it looks more professional, cleaner. When someone lands on it, it gives a sense of like, oh, I can trust this person, right? Because that's the power of a website. People don't want to be scammed. That's also the power of content and being consistent in content because, oh, this person is here. This person is here for them. They're not going to ghost me. They're not going to take my money and run. Right? And so your website can also bring a sense of security that you're a safe place to invest in. So we're working on the website, but they were afraid of hurting someone's feelings who was an old manager of their past website. And they didn't want to let go, or they were afraid that they would lose their relationship if they were to move forward and do a brand new website that looks a lot better. And I'm not saying this to be biased. And it was very eye-opening to me, but also I understood it, like, hey, those are the values. Like the value was people over material things, possibly, and I understand that. But you gotta also understand that you're serving your audience and you gotta sometimes rethink the way that you approach things. Okay, if this person truly supports me in my business, they would be happy for me and moving closer to my goals, right? But instead, the person was like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt this other person's feelings, and I'd rather stay here because I want to have those loyalty ties to that person, instead of moving forward." And so, relationships, what relationships are important to you? You really got to get clear on how bad do you want it in essence, because if they're a true person that really cares about you, they're going to be happy for you, even though they got to let you go. And that's the thing. Like for me, and the reason why I'm able to move forward, with certain things is that I do not hold any client down. Girl, if you find a better designer than me, go ahead, do you. Or if you find a better program than mine, or, you're able to get better results somewhere else, I am not the type of person that's going to guilt you into staying with me. What I will do is push you. What I will do is challenge your thinking. What I will do is say, trust the process. Okay. But, I'm not going to hold you back. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to hold you back for sake of us having a relationship. right? And this was a person that was someone that she was paying to host her website and to keep her website up. So that is just one example, right? Off of many that I have seen. And so, and I'm not saying that, oh, having a business success was more important than people. Heavens, no. But you got to understand that your business also serves others. It's not about you. It's about the way that you serve others and show up for others. So a website also allows you to serve someone in a better capacity. And it also helps you in your business, and I feel like it's fulfilling. Like you have a beautiful website that people can easily navigate through, is visually appealing. They know where to get their information. They know where to find what they need. It's a service. Having a beautiful, well laid out, high converting website is serving others. And that's why you got to shift your mindset. You got to shift your mindset in the way that you think about your business, because some people think about their business like, oh, I'm taking away from someone else. What? You're helping others. You're helping others. I pray to God that your business is around service and serving others. And I hope that it's fulfilling, right? In the Bible, it says, God loves a cheerful giver. You're also giving, right? You're giving back. You invested in your website, you gave in that capacity, and that's a way of you showing up and you serving. I hope I'm making sense, and I hope that I'm not, going all over the place here. But I guess the question is kind of like, how can you make things more simple? Thought processes, your values, and keeping the goal ultimately in front of you, right? Like, what's your goal? One of my goals is to glorify God in my calling and do what I am called to do on this earth, right? And, delighting myself in the Lord so He will give me the desires of my heart, and praying that the desires of my heart align with His will. That's one of my prayers. I prayed that this morning. And I think having an amazing prayer life with your business and taking your prayer life and your business together is also a fundamental strategy that you should implement and put together, because it changes the way that you think. It renews your mind, right? We constantly have to renew our minds. And if we're not careful, we're going to stray away from the path that is our calling towards what God is calling you to do. And if it's this business idea that you have, you got to be careful with the strongholds that you may have. If you are procrastinating in an area, if you're procrastinating in emailing your list, what are the beliefs that you have around emailing your list? If you're procrastinating about showing up on social media, what are the beliefs that you have around social media? And it could be as simple, like for me, when it comes to social media, and maybe I should change my wording on this, but when it comes to social media, sometimes I get tired. I get tired and I say, oh, I don't like showing up on social media. But really what I should do, because we can always rewire our minds, I should be like, I love showing up on social media, and I show up when I can. I show up when I'm meant to. Social media is such a powerful tool, and we're in the age of information and knowledge, and I don't understand. Sometimes we complicate things and we self-sabotage. Content is the name of the game, and you got to have a content strategy. For instance, like I told you, like I revealed to you, one of my content marketing strategies is my podcast. Why? It's the easiest way for me to show up. As much as I see the gains on YouTube, video is very intimidating for me. So find an avenue, because we can always work towards the uncomfortable and get comfortable in the uncomfortable, but find an avenue that is the easiest or least of resistance in order for you to achieve your goal. That's another thing that I have realized and have saw when coaching students is kind of like, we think we need to go from 0 to 100. You can go from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3. You do not have to go straight away into these big marketing, endeavors, such as summits and bundles, you may not be ready for that. The visibility of that is insane. I'm telling you for real. And if you have some limiting beliefs and some resistance on being visible, you're going to self-sabotage and you're not going to push through. Because one of the things I had to do with one of the students is, okay, let's focus and get you, because they're a new business owner, and they're trying to do the whole marketing. And one of the strategies that we were implementing that brought a lot of visibility, it was hard for them to do, while another student was thriving and getting more visible and getting the results, right? So, which was so cool to see. And so that's why I'm bringing it into the podcast and letting you know, like, get comfortable in being visible within your business. Some of y'all are self-sabotaging social media because you're not comfortable in being visible. So what do you have to do? It's like building muscle. You got to build those spiritual, those mental muscles on showing up. I had to do it too. When I grew my group from from like 100, I had 100 members in my Facebook group, to in a week getting to 600 to 700 members, that was so overwhelming, like mentally. I was almost tapped out, but I knew, I was like, I need to push forward. I need to push forward and I just need to finish this, because it was the strategy that I was implementing, right, on growing my group that fast. So I want you to consider, if right now social media is a bit daunting, you don't know how you're going to show up, or you procrastinate showing up, you procrastinate and doing that video and doing that reel, I want you to pick an area. Could it be podcasting? Could it be YouTube? Could it be reels? And just do one thing a week, either or bi-weekly. Currently, the podcast is bi-weekly because I have a lot on my plate. The kids are home. It's summer vacation. I got client work, which is amazing. And I also got finishing up my program, just making it more robust with the beta students that came in and working with them. And so it'd be a lot, but I know that consistency is key. And it's almost like, just like life can be a lot, sometimes our business can be a lot, and we gotta like approach it like in a way that, how can I be consistent in this area? So have you ever felt like you're doing all the things and yet you're still not getting the results you want? You're posting, you're emailing, you're creating, and it still feels like nothing is really moving the needle. If that's you, this episode is going to feel like a deep exhale. So breathe in and exhale with me. Okay. So when I was first growing my business, girl, person listening, there was a whole bunch of shiny pennies. That's what I like to call them. There was a whole bunch of like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. I need to be on reels every day. I need to do, and all it did was really just burn me out. And I also realized that when we have that mentality of like getting used to being visible, we got to understand our energy levels. We got to understand what type of visibility we're capable of obtaining, right? Because we can go viral. We can get a whole bunch of followers, and going viral on a reel, let me tell you, there's some comments there that you don't want to read. And so it's not about going viral. It's about reaching that one person. That's how I like to show up. I'm here to reach that one person that I am about to transform and help them get to that next level in their life, right? So I don't want you to reach burnout. So I want you to be mindful of the strongholds you may have, the things that you need to forgive within your own thinking of judging other people's strategy or other people and how they show up in their business, because it's going to keep you from showing up. It's going to keep you from implementing strategies. It's going to keep you from not going for it. And you're not going to understand why. Like, why every time I sit down and write this email, I'm not able to send it out? Why every time that I do a reel, I'm not able to post it? Why every time that I write a prompt and it's so good, but it calls people into my program, I'm not able to post that? Think about the judgments you've had for other people and release those. Forgive yourself, forgive them, forgive yourself, and release. So once I understood that it was about simplifying the way that I thought about things, simplifying my values, understanding how to keep the goal in front of me, that's when things actually started to change for me, because it allowed me to say yes to things I needed to say yes to that energetically aligned with the way that I like to show up, that felt natural to me. And yes, there's going to be uncomfortable moments. There's going to be things that you push. But once you push yourself into be consistent, then you can add other layers into your marketing, into your business, and stuff like that. So I want you to consider to stop chasing after every single strategy and focus on one. And the one that I would love for you to focus on is being consistent with content once a week, content that is aligned with what you are great at. So when I stopped chasing that shiny penny and I started focusing on one strategy, which is how I gained like over 2,000 subscribers, amazing people coming into when I first launched my membership that's now changed into a group program, from a bundle, from virtual summits, signed on clients, and actually had energy. Mm, it was a game changer. And I want that game changer for you. And we can keep things simple. So simplicity creates clarity for you and your audience. When you're trying to do everything, your message can get muddy, right? We can get muddy in our heads. And so we're muddy in the way that we show up. But when you simplify, your audience knows exactly what you do and how you can help. So ask yourself, what's the one result, one goal I help people get? When you're showing up, what is that one result? What is that skill set that you help people get, right? What is it? And think about how you can make this simple, right? Bite-sized pieces, a minute, a minute. Think about a minute, showing up for a minute somewhere. It could be in YouTube. It could be even on the podcast. 1 minute drills on the podcast. Oh my goodness. I know someone that's doing 10 minutes, 10 minutes on her podcast and show, short spurts and going for it. Okay. Focused systems outperform scattered effort. I'm going to say that again. Focused systems outperform scattered effort. So being very clear on how you want to show up and how you want to be consistent and what you want to be known for. A simple rinse and repeat system like hosting a summit or participating in a bundle can outperform daily posting and hustle. Why? Because systems scale. Hustle doesn't. So one of the things that I love about virtual summits and bundles is that it's about serving your community. Like it's about when you're ready to be having that visibility, being that go-to person within your niche, and you're ready for that, and you're serving them in a bigger capacity, that you're becoming from unheard of to go-to, okay? Because you're establishing yourself as a leader and you're bringing in an experience and you're bringing value within that experience. And when you're focused on doing that and building momentum and kind of like allowing the strategy of content as well to come into play, right? Being consistent, boom, creating an experience by hosting a summit or being part of a bundle, right? And then going into allowing people to go deeper with you, like why you, who are you, what you do, because you're becoming more visible. And you do that once a year. At first, it's going to be it's going to be work in the upfront, but dang, when you do that once a year, that work pays off. And then you're back on the grind on that consistency and showing up consistently on where you love showing up. Right? Point three, simplicity builds confidence and consistency. The more simple and doable your strategy, the more consistent you'll be. Consistency equals trust, and trust can equal sales. Okay? And so you got to get past your strongholds, your mental blocks, your limiting beliefs. There's a great book by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap. Love this book. It really put into perspective in the beginning of my journey what I needed to work on and how I needed to learn to be uncomfortable. Actually, no, excuse me. How I needed to work on being comfortable in the uncomfortable. So if you've been spinning in circles trying to do it all, I want to invite you into something better. Okay? I'm going to be opening up enrollment soon to the Monetizing Mompreneurs Society Summits and Bundles Accelerator Program, a space where I teach you how to build a simple marketing system that grows your list, books you clients, and gives you your time back. The waitlist is open now. Get on it. Link is in the show notes. Or go to lindamendable.com/MMSociety. Again, that's lindamendable.com/MMSociety. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this episode felt like a breath of fresh air, take a screenshot, tag me at Linda Mendable, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And hey, real growth doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things with focus. I'll catch you in the next episode.